Track split into three separate sectors. The first running from the control line to the braking point into turn 4. From there to the braking point at turn 10 is sector 2, and then it's quite complicated. You've got to be patient through sector 3. 14 so important for your run to the line. It's been quite a wait, but here in the springtime, this is what we look forward to. The first of 6 European Le Mans Series races, as the grand music pumps out in the background, and now the music around the racetrack is the sound of all of these Gibson engines firing into life. It's a good getaway from Francesco Simonazzi in the black and green car. He will hang on to pole position. Ginetta very, very wide there for DKR Engineering, and will have to take to the escape road, in fact. You can't rejoin right in the middle of turn 2. You have to wait till you've crossed past the 2 bollards there. But Simonazzi will have been thinking about that start of that race all night long. There is a crucial change for second position as Kubusz Michowski muscles his way by Jonas Reed to put the 43 into Europol competition car into second place.
Yeah, also running wide, I'll correct you, it's number 3 Orica, the Ginetta, the same colour scheme, but also running wide there was LMP2 Pro pole sitter. Giorgio Roda has rejoined and retained the lead in the class, it looks like, on our M Sports Ligier, falling back into the lead group of GT3s, but the LMGT3 lead has been taken at the start by Celia Martin in the Iron Dames car.
Yeah, so after Laurence Faur's radical move at the first couple of corners, he's actually come through the first split in 6th position, so there may be some questions about how he did do the rejoin there. Thank you for the nod about it being an LMP2 car rather than the new LMP3 Ginetta, which we will catch our sights on in a moment or two. One car that's falling a long way further back is Jacek Zielonka, who has not completed, well, has now gone through the second split, but a lot of cars have gone through, in fact all of them, the GTs as well, as we cross the line to complete the first lap. And Francesco Simonazzi leads for Duquesne team ahead of Kubusz Michowski, and here is the Zielonka Team Virage LMP3 car, smoke trailing from that, where it was very busy. So
rear right, either suspension damage or a puncture. Meantime, in LMP3, where there appears to have been a little bit of argy-bargy, the DKR Ginetta up to 6th and 10th at the start, so a fine start there from Antiramo in that's number 4 Ginetta. Pretty clean into pit lane comes the number 18 Virage car. So look and see just how quickly they can turn that car around. Pretty clean at the start, the head of the pack there. But boy, did it get busy behind them.
Just creeping through shot, the number 12 WTM by Rinaldi Racing Duquesne, which has Torsten Kratz at the controls. He's now into the lead of LMP3. We're focusing on the second place fight because it's closer between Fabien Michal and Paul Lancher. So Lancher started the race on pole position. He's back to 3rd now in that grey with blue mirrors, number 17. There he is, heading through shot after good work yesterday from Adrian Clomanil to put the car on pole position. But Torsten Kratz is one of the quickest bronze drivers in the LMP3 field, so no surprise to see him there. LMGT3 is led by Celia Martin in the pink and white Iron Dames Porsche. She's got ahead of Martin Berry in his Iron Licks Mercedes, and a grin from Michelle Gatting just as we cut away from her, in fact, but very happy with where her car is at the moment.
Yep, it's fastest lap of the race too. Lawrence Hurd now up to 4th place in the charging DKR Engineering number 3 car, also of course leading LMP2 Pro-Am. So for the Iron Dames, fine start. Great race yesterday until disaster in the Michelin Le Mans Cup. I have to tell you that Marta Garcia is fine after what was a horrifying incident, tagged by another car into the wall. They'll be looking for a better end to their race, but they've certainly had a great start to it with Celia Martin, the new face in the bronze seat at Iron Dames in the European Le Mans Series.
37 in LMP2 is in 11th position. Alexander Malakin fighting with Ollie Gray in the newly liveried VDS Panis Racing crew. So the VDS Cat visible on the side of that car, number 48 going through turn 9. Very fast approach to that car. Got to be cautious about the track limits on the exit as well. And in fact, around the outside now will arrive Ollie Gray to try and pick off Malikin, who's in the adjustment period between GT racing and these prototypes, so he won't be pushing like crazy. He just needs to settle in, and to be honest, so did everybody else, because we haven't had any tyre warmers on the grid. They're not permitted anymore. It will take a few laps for the cars to get properly in the groove.
Great start from Francesco Simonazzi. He puts in the fastest lap of the race at 1:32.978, putting away from Schmitzkowski.
Bless you.
Coughing in the middle of it.
Bless you.
But up to third now, Lawrence Hur.
I don't know whether we saw anybody spinning at turn 5, but it looks like the yellows were out briefly there.
Five was the number 11.
Ah, yeah, you're international.
Yep.
And then the spin for Rodrigo Sales at turn 14, which is where all the cars are now. And the pace car is no longer with them. So it's every man and woman for himself right now in these trying, testing conditions. We're about to go racing for the second time in the season for the European Le Mans Series, but there are a huge amount of unknowns here because of the rain, which has started to pour again. And remember that the lead car, number 43, driven by Kuba Śmiechowski, is just about one of the only LMP2s on treaded wet weather tyres. Everybody else is going to be tippy-toeing their way through. There's already a spin for the 22 United Autosports car, joined by another that spun 2. And now the difficulty is trying to get back into the race as safely as you can with all the LMP3s and the GTs pouring their way through. Meanwhile, Duncan Cameron takes the lead in GT, and that's not a big surprise because he's on wet weather tyres as well, Graham Goodwin.
Standing water in a couple of places. We hadn't noticed a little earlier, but you're right, 2 cars went around. We'll soon say which they were. I think it's the EDEX Sport car. I think that might well be the 28 car that's gone around as well.
Bang on. 28, 22, both descending rapidly on the timing screen. That's Paul Lafargue in EDEX Sport, and it's Manuel Maldonado's United Autosports 22 car.
Meantime, fast starting Torsten Kratz is in amongst the LMP2 Pro-Ams in his number 12 Duqueine. There is a fair amount of spray now on the back straight. If this rain stays for much longer, I don't think they're going to be able to avoid coming in for wet weather tyres. Seeing LMP3 cars going by P2 cars on the straight here.
There's been so much to talk about. I don't think we mentioned during this particular broadcast that we've got the chicanes back for the first time in 8 years. They were last run in 2017, so now an extra overtaking opportunity and a significant reduce in pace halfway or 2/3 of the way down the Mistral straight. It's nip and tuck stuff to try and do an overtake in these current conditions. I reckon going through 5 and 6, GT cars were able to overtake an LMP2 car. They've got way more mechanical grip at this stage.
Well, Śmiechowski and Matt Kaiser are driving away at the moment, and my guess is Matt Kaiser might well be on wets as well. So Matthias Kaiser in the 25 car and Kuba driving away from the rest of the field. What do I mean by that? Śmiechowski at the moment 2 seconds ahead of Kaiser. Kaiser 6.5 seconds clear of Ollie Gray in the VDS Panis racing car.
So treaded tyres, they're able to clear the water because of those grooves within them. We've had a big incident now towards the end of the lap. This is in the final sector, and is that the AF Corsa car? So that was the overall winner in Barcelona.
There's another car off. It's the 8 car. It's a Team Virage car with heavy damage.
Started second in category with Jacek Zielonka at the wheel. So have the 83 and the 8 connected with one another. Talking about those treaded tyres that are able to clear this water, whereas if you imagine a slick, well, that offers huge amounts of grip in the dry, but it just ends up with you aquaplaning if you hit standing water. The incident had already happened by this point. But there are bits of the 8 nose all over the road. It was a spin for the 83 initially.
Oh, that was a huge hit. Huge hit for the 8 car.
And after a couple of months away, we're about to burst back into life for the 2025 European Le Mans Series. Graham Goodwin and Johnny Palmer together with Steph Wentworth in the pit lane. It's a long wait. They go over the finish line. The start line's around this next right-hand kink, and making sure you're centralised through the grid hatchings. Now the bomb burst begins then as those red lights are extinguished. Racing here for the 4 hours of Imola is underway, and it is a good getaway initially then from Matthias Kaiser. Jonas Reed slotting into second position ahead of Pedro Perino in the early stages. So the number 9 car has galloped away, and also, as we might have expected, Pipo Derani in the number 47 CLX car is already working his way through the order in car number 47.
Yeah, Francesco Simonazzi just shuffled behind, and there goes the M Racing car, spins right across the field almost takes out the 88. Tim Kresick, I think, aboard that car, does a great job to avoid contact, but both the pink Ligiers stumbling across the gravel trap and will rejoin.
Yeah, but that could have been a lot nastier than it turned out. That's cold tyres, I would imagine, and just not enough track space for the opening lap. I told you it was tight around here. And another spin, this time for the number 15 RLR M Sport car, started by Michael Jensen. Well, he was towards the rear of the field anyway, and they were trying to make a bit of ground in the early stages. Stefan Trebordini has rejoined for M Racing. Although, having said that, we haven't actually got a time yet for the first stint for the M Racing car. So I'll hold my horses in that regard. No, he is running again, shown now in 37th place, as thundering their way downhill into Rivazza for the first time. It's Matthias Kaiser leading Jonas Ried, 0.6 of a second through the last split. Kuba Śmiechowski in the 43 car, that car qualified in 4th, already up to 3rd. So Pedro Perino's just struggling a little bit in the green-nosed into Europol competition car, having dropped a couple of places on that opening tour.
Great start though from the 43 car of Kuba Śmiechowski. All over the back of Felipe Albuquerque. We said we thought we might see some progress there. This is the number 88 car. Trouble 2 for the number 4. Ginetta is on pit lane.
So that's Antti Ramo, who was well placed, 4th position in LMP3.
Was that perhaps contact between the Ginetta and the M Racing car that caused the issue?
Well, they're checking the front right wheel arch for sure, or was that them just preventing the car from rolling forward any further? Matthias Kaiser opening up a little gap from Jonas Ried as they climb the hill up to Variante Piratella through that tricky left-hander, which gets a little bit more open as you go through it. And then a glance back to Paul Lancher, who is theoretically the slowest of the 3 drivers in number 17, but he's had a good start to be fighting with Fabien Michal, and Michal now left nearly a second further back in the all-carbon livery number 11 for Euro International. In LMGT3, Aston Martin lead, Clément Matter, then the Iron Dames Porsche of Celia Martin. So that begs the question as to precisely what has happened to the pole-sitting car of Martin Berry. He's all the way down in 8th place, but Riccardo Agostini, I told you to look out for him. From the back of the grid, he's already 3rd.
Yeah, I think what's been happening here with the LMGT3s, they were getting caught up in the melee as the 2 LMP3 cars sorted it out. And we've seen a couple of the GT3 cars just drop right back. Tim Kresick, by the way, has not yet made it back to pit lane.
We were last racing in the European Le Mans Series at the start of July. That was at Emilia-Romagna at Imola. Another classic Grand Prix circuit, unforgiving. Spot the similarities with this place. It's a bit longer at 7 kilometres. Your chance, therefore, of an instant pit stop, if there's the chance to do it, is kind of at the mercy of where you may be around this lengthy racetrack, with constant gradient change as well. The second half of the European Le Mans Series for 2025 bursts into life in great sunshine here at Spa-Francorchamps, and it is a good getaway for the poleman Jem Bollock-Bashi, who charges his way into La Source. PJ Hyatt's been delayed, though, it looks like, in the AO by TF Sport car for LMP2 Pro-Am. He started 2nd, don't forget. And that movement around in the order of the LMGT3s that put Duncan Cameron at the sharp end. It did look like he led Clément Matter, leaving La Source for the first time. But no doubt about it, the man from Turkey has got the jump on Jonas Ried, who in the yellow car is 2nd ahead of Ollie Gray. Gray's not going to waste any time if he can attack and ideally overtake Jonas Ried in the first few corners. They're already through the first sector, though. 1 or 2 have been delayed, no doubt about it. But no huge drama at La Source. I say that tentatively. Now there's the contact, though, and this is at Bruxelles, and that was for one of the CLX cars, 47 of Sebastian Alvarez, who loses places as a result. Graham Goodwin.
Yeah, actually, it looked like there was far more delay to PJ Hyatt than actually there was. He has got away, but 2nd, he's lost the lead to the other Nielsen Racing car. So Nielsen Racing, in the hands of John Falb in the 27 car, 24 and 27 lead both the LMP2 classes on this first lap. Yellows at turn 8. And that's for the number 3 car. Trouble for DCAR Engineering. That's Georgios Kolovos struggling. PJ Hyatt, whatever happened at turn 1, I think it was his car. It was lost the lead.
But Roda was pole, wasn't he? Roda was pole, and it's dropped to 7th place. So did Roda and PJ Hyatt hook up with one another into the hairpin, which is always that startling first corner of Spa-Francorchamps. I say always, the 24-hour race doesn't actually start like that. They head downhill first of all, but yes, it's always that, you know, you rev up through the gears and then immediately onto the brakes and have to try and make space for one another.
Georgios Kolovas, by the way, is dropping to the back of this field. We've got 2 penalties to be added. This is for issues earlier in the weekend. Car 35, the ultimate LMP3 car 34, which is one of the 2 Inter-Europol cars, will have 5 seconds added to their first pit stop. We'll deal with that when it comes. Right now, plenty of action, and this is the A/TF car, and this is PJ Hyatt trying to get onto terms with Sebastian Alvarez, and it is Hyatt back to the lead in LMP2 Pro-Am.
He's got ahead of John Fowl, so yeah, and Giorgio Roda is now at the back of the LMP2 Pro-Am cars, so it becomes curiouser and curiouser precisely what the issue is for the Italian, and indeed whether he's managed to entirely shake that problem. I just wonder whether he got together with somebody and he's still really recovering from that moment. Francois Perrodo just ahead of him in 6th in the 83 AF Corsa car.
Storming start, by the way, from the Racing Spirit Le Mans. Aston Martin in the hands of Clément Mathieu, and behind, this is the battle for second. Duncan Cameron, Celia Martin, and that is the 55 car, the Spirit of Race, the green, the British Racing green and whites Ferrari, under pressure from Celia Martin for second.
And remember, a full course yellow locks you out of the pit lane apart from for emergency service. Safety car, first 3 laps, you won't pit as well. You can't pit, but we might have a virtual safety car that does allow it. Stick with us, this is going to be a journey into the unknown, but we're back in the UK for the European Le Mans Series 2025.
Under investigation.
And down into Copse Corner we go for the first time. Oliver Gray leading the way, but no longer is Jonas Reed in second place because Kuba Śmiechowski's got the jump from the inside of the second row and is now ahead of the yellow Iron Lynx Proton car. Algarve Pro Racing's Matthias Kaiser fending everybody else off, it seems, after a good start for Benjamin Pedersen in the black and green Duquesne car. And now a chance to get desperate temperature into these tyres onto the hangar straight for the first time.
Trouble, I think, for the number 3. That's
yes.
It's Georgios Kolovas, I think, has had it. There he is across the infield. But looked like a cracking start for the 43 car. Start is always under investigation, so I'll take a good look at that. But it did look like Kuba Śmiechowski had a real cracker.
It's not just Kolovas who's in strife at Maggots Beckett's, because Rodrigo Sales could have been involved with that as well. So 2 LMP2 Pro-Am cars have not reached the end of the first segment, at least. We're now going past the wing, which is always very confusing because camera views can make it look like the start-finish straight. Not quite back there yet, because now dive bombing into Village goes the 24 car, which has been started by Philippe Albuquerque. Interesting that they put a pro in for the opening stint there rather than the silver. And Albuquerque's off on the grass though now and has lost a hatful of time as he goes through the Kincardine tree and onto the Wellington straight. So back towards the complex, still cars weaving to try and get heat into the good years.
He's the only platinum driver to start the race, only platinum or gold driver to start the race in LMP2. Can tell you that both those delayed LMP2 Pro-Am cars are back underway. So we still at the moment have 44 cars running, but there's further woes at turn 14,
which is the
37.
left-hander at the loop.
It's another P2 car.
So what do you reckon? 37. Okay, one of the CLX cars, and that is Alexander Malikin. And CLX Pure Racing car had started quite a bit further up in the order. 37 starting 9th place, and now the 31
Wolf,
car.
As well in trouble with Jacques Wolf in the gravel. This might be a very early intervention here. And as you can see, some LMP3 cars mixed in amongst the GT3s. That was Julien Gerby. And he's just passed Celia Martin for position, recovering that position. It is Celia Martin for the Iron Dames that leads. We are going to go to an immediate virtual safety car.
So virtual safety car, you can pit.
1 virtual safety car. We are under virtual safety car. Be advised, we are picking debris at multiple places on track.
So this is the 6th country on the list to visit, and it's become the traditional showdown venue. The Portimão international circuit for race 6, the final race of the 2025 European Le Mans Series campaign. And it's going to be a patient wait for all the cars to come out of Galp corner with eyes fixed on the 5 red lights. We'll be racing, but not quite yet. Now we are, and the final race of the year gets underway with a very good start for Jonas Ried, and in fact the two behind are going to be side by side as they arrive at Primera corner, with Kuba Śmiechowski just about getting the shout over Jamie Chadwick. The rest of them flood their way through the first sequence of 3 corners that are in quick succession here. La Gauche corner, where the drone is right above, and then this tricky left-hand kink that leads them onto the back straight. Everyone through in LMP3, LMP2 Pro Am and P3 for that matter as well. Giorgio Roda's held on to his lead in LMP2 Pro Am, it would appear. Alex Quinn's up to 2nd place already from the back of the Pro Am field. How on earth has he done that? Maybe right around the outside of turns 1, 2 and 3.
And some brief trouble, I think, for WTM by Rinaldi Duquesne, but that car is back away and running again. The yellow flag's withdrawn at turn 3, 4. But other than that, a reasonably clean start. But yes, spectacular progress from Alex Quinn.
So he runs 2nd. That could very easily be the lead of LMP2 Pro-Am by the end of the lap, because Giorgio Roda won't concern himself.
It already is.
It already is. There you go. Well, to be honest, that's not a fight that Roda needs to get involved with. Why slow yourself down in trying to block or cut off a pro driver? Roda, the bronze, he's in the team deliberately for that fact. And now side-by-side action down the hill out of Portimão corners at the top. It's the dive downhill through the left-hander at 12. And that was the Iron Dames Porsche of Celia Martin, duking it out with Martin Berry's Iron Lynx number 63 Mercedes.
Yes, Alex Quinn, 8 cars passed in 8 corners. Remarkable start to this race. He's now tucked in behind teammate Théo Pourchaire, heading to Peugeot in the hypercar deal for 2026, Théo. And Alex Quinn matching up beautifully with that.
Gillian Orion's already into the pits. Is that something he needed to serve, or is that a genuine problem?
No, that will be him switching the driver.
Already? Yeah, okay, so don't even wait for a virtual safety car. Just get out of the car and start to burn the bronze time. There is some sort of incident at the first corner where double waved yellows.
The 57 car, it is.
There it is.
Takeshi Kimura. So a couple of cars have had mildly rotational moments. Second of them, the second of the Kessel car. Now, this does look just like a driver change, but he's going to need to be rapid with this. They surely are not going to be burning a long stop at this stage.
Well, it puts you off the lead lap straight away before you started, so I don't see the thinking there.
Further progress for Alex Quinn. He's now ahead of Paul Lafargue, the last runner in the LMP2 class. And I can tell you that the number 15 car is underway and will get to pit exit before the train comes through, but not much before.
Yeah. Well, they'd obviously worked out how long it was likely to take. They did take the opportunity to put a bit of fuel in that car, and Michael Jensen has taken it over. So he will rejoin at the back of the field, but crucially still on the lead lap, still on the lead LMP3 lap as well.
The calculation could well be here, but if you still do get an early